Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into a really significant shift happening in global climate action. We're moving beyond just setting targets, the negotiations phase, and diving into accelerated implementation, how things actually get done. And our focus is on our second workstream, the NDC Delivery LAB. It's our sort of multi-stakeholder engine built for exactly this.
That's a great way to put it. And yes, as a head of this workstream, I can tell you about the goal for the NDC Delivery LAB. It's fundamentally practical. It's all about taking those high-level climate policies, your NDCs, your NAPs, the LTL-LDs, and translating them into innovative, actionable, and crucially bankable investments, eventually turning them into real impact.
Okay, bankable investments. Let's unpack that. If implementation is the aim, what was the core problem? What gap did the lab need to fill?
Well, the reality, particularly across Africa, is often described as policy-heavy implementation. We see policies developed, very responsive to climate impacts, but they often do not translate into concrete local assets.
Right. So the plans are there on paper, but getting them off the paper and into the real world, that's the hurdle.
Exactly. And it's down to a few systemic things. Limited access to finance is a big one. Also, sometimes weak institutional or technical capacity to execute the policies. And often efforts are just too fragmented, siloed approaches across sectors. So the lab really comes in to offer a new way, a method for co-creation and co-production of solutions.
Co-creation across key sectors, right? You mentioned water, energy, agriculture, health.
Precisely. Those intersections are critical.
Okay, so if fragmentation is the challenge, how does the lab actually work? You operate at this nexus, right? The science, policy, practice nexus.
That's the core idea. We have 3 functional hubs designed to bridge those gaps. We try to leverage the best available science, use it to inform policy, and then crucially turn that policy into practice that can scale up.
Can you give an example? Maybe from the Policy Support Hub.
Sure. So, for instance, we worked quite closely with the UNFCCC Regional Collaboration Center. We mapped out the whole LTLEDs landscape in Africa, which was important groundwork. But more than that, we actually developed and pushed out a technical guide, step-by-step help for African countries to formulate their own long-term strategies.
Okay, policy support. Now the big one, finance. The Climate Finance Hub. How do you unlock funding? That Kenya example sounds key.
Yes, the GCF concept note for Kenya. That was a big learning curve for us too. Turkana and West Pokot specifically. The key insight is that the GCF heavily prioritizes a robust multi-stakeholder design process.
Meaning?
You can't just write the proposal in isolation. The lab essentially provided the structure, the how-to, for involving diverse local voices right from the start. That collaborative design, that's what turned it from just an idea into something GCF could really get behind.
That makes sense. And I imagine that model fed into the SCACAF initiative too, strengthening capacities.
It absolutely did. SCAF, that's strengthening the capacities of African countries to access adaptation finance in Ghana, Kenya, Ethiopia. We really went with a learning by doing approach. We were right there with the country expert teams, wrestling with these complex proposal templates. It wasn't about lectures. It was that hands-on work, that struggle that genuinely built their capacity.
In the result?
The result was each country developing 6 quality concept notes or full proposals ready to go.
That's impressive. But getting those concept notes actually funded, what's the main barrier now to getting those across the line?
Yes, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It often boils down to mastering the climate rationale. It's this very specific technical justification that funders like the GCF or GEF need. You have to prove technically that your project is tackling climate vulnerabilities, not just general development problems. It's a subtle but critical.
I see. So building that specific capacity is crucial. And quickly, the third hub, decision support tools.
Right. We've been piloting the NBC Capacity Scorecard, working directly with the Malawi government on that. And it's more than just a checklist, it's dynamic. It helps the government self-assess, pinpoint where their implementation bottlenecks really are. That lets us and them target capacity building much more effectively.
Okay, so wrapping this up a bit, the NDC-DL is tackling that policy implementation gap. It's showing how to unlock global finance like the GCF. And it's building that vital technical capacity, especially around the climate rationale.
Exactly. And, internally for Agnes, the lab has been, it's been our main vehicle for resource mobilization. It's taught us how to win, how to really understand these complex funding calls and put forward innovative, successful proposals. It built our own skills immensely.
A real engine for both external impact and internal growth.
It really has been, but maybe let me leave you and everyone listening with a final thought to chew on. It builds on this lesson around locally led action. We know climate action happens locally, right on the ground. So the question is how we make absolutely sure that every single adaptation strategy we support going forward remains truly context-specific and tailored, really fitted to the unique needs and priorities of those diverse local communities. How do we scale that kind of tailoring? Something to think about.
Thank you for tuning in. Bye.